Hello and welcome to TVM Academy. This is VARC 100, a free practice course for CAT verbal section. You may sign up for this free course on our portal. The links are available in the description box of this video. RC number 30 of this practice series. So in the first paragraph, author tells you that the machine industry has risen to the apex of industrial system. It is at the top of industrial system today. In the second paragraph, he starts explaining the logic behind machine industry, and he compares it with the logic of scientific techniques, which are run on the principles of physics and chemistry, which are objective in nature and which are concerned with the logic of the material world, the material facts. Then he starts explaining the role of technician in this machine industry, and he again points out that even a technician has to be unbiased, impersonal, and objective keeper of that logic. He furthers that point in the last paragraph and tells us that monetary gain is a personal interest that can hinder a technician's objective goal, objective working plan, though the same is the only motivation behind businessman's plan. So he basically compares how a businessman works and how a technician works. Technician is impersonal, unbiased. He has to be an objective keeper of the logic, while the businessman is driven by the motivation of earning money. So that's what he tells us. Okay. First question, the author of the passage is primarily concerned with what? The primary purpose of the passage. Option A, discussing the industrial organization in the 18th century. Please note, author discusses the current situation of machine industry rather than 18th century. He only began with a little bit of history, but he, throughout the passage, discusses the current system, the current machine system or industrial system. Okay, so this is a very narrow point of discussion, a minor point of discussion, not the primary purpose of the passage. Option B, the motives for pecuniary gain. It does not, it's too vague. It does not mention machine industry, does not mention technician, does not mention industrial system. So the motives for pecuniary gain, whose motives? We don't know. Whose motives for pecuniary gain? The passage is not this generic or this vague. Okay. Option C, the technician's place in mechanical industry, a tempting choice. But again, is the author primarily concerned with describing the technician's place in mechanical industry or the impersonal nature of the machine industry, including the technician's impersonal nature? Please note, throughout the passage, author says that the logic of material fact, the logic of inanimate fact, this has to be objective, this has to be impersonal. It should ignore the spiritual laws and customs. And again, technician should also ignore personal feelings, personal emotions, and he should be unbiased and impersonal. He should keep that logic going. So therefore, technician is just one part of the discussion. It is not the primary purpose of the passage. As such, tempting choice, but narrow. Option D, the impersonal nature of industry, the impersonal organization of the industry. Yes, it basically D captures everything. It captures technician as well as the technician's role, as well as the logic on which this industry, the machine industry, operates. So option D is more inclusive in nature than option C. That's why between C and D, we go with option D. Good question. Which of the following, if true, would contradict the author's belief that the role of technician is to be the keeper of that logic, which means he has to be impersonal and he has to be objective. Okay. We have to contradict this belief that technician has to be impersonal or objective in nature. Okay. Option A, all technicians are human beings with feelings and emotions. Tempting choice. Now, but please note, option A only says that they have feelings. Does not mean their feelings interfere with their work or it makes them biased. You may have feeling, but you may still have control on them, or you may shun them while working, and you may, not let these feelings hinder or interfere with your working plan, objective working plan. So option A only tells that they have feelings. That does not contradict the fact that that technicians have to be impersonal while working. They have to be objective keepers of the logic of the machine industry. Option B, an interest in pecuniary gain is the technician's sole motive for participation in the industry. Absolutely correct. So basically, option B directly tells you that technicians participate in the industry only because they want money. So they have a personal interest in the first place. That's why they participate in the industry, which means the author's argument that technician's role is impersonal or should be impersonal gets contradicted by option B right away. Okay. Option C, the technician's working plans do not coincide with technician's pecuniary interests, which means his work is independent of his personal interests. It supports the author's point of view rather than contradicts it. Option D, technicians are employed by businessmen to oversee the forces at work. So what? Option D is irrelevant, insufficient. It does not say anything about their personal interest or their objectivity. It only tells us that businessmen are the ones who employ technicians. So what? Are technicians driven by self-interest? Are they impersonal? Are they objective? We don't know. Okay. Question 3. Author would probably most strongly agree with which of the following statements about the evolution of industrial system. Okay. He talks about the evolution of industrial system only the first paragraph, where he says the machine industry of recent times took its rise by a gradual emergence out of the handicraft in England in the 18th century. Okay, so we have to stay with this idea. Option A, the handicraft system of industry emerged in 18th century England. Wrong facts, factually incorrect. Machine industry emerged in the 18th century out of handicraft industry. Handicraft industry did not emerge in the 18th century. Okay. Also, it was replaced by, this word replaced is alien. We don't know whether it has been replaced by it. It's maybe handicraft industry still there. It's just that the dominant industry is machine industry. That's what we get to know from the passage. Option B, the handicraft system of industrial production has gradually given rise to a machine technology, mechanistic technology that dominates modern industry, contemporary industry. All the facts are correct. So handicraft system gave rise to machine industry. Yes. Machine industry took its rise by a gradual emergence out of handicraft. So option B should be correct. C, the handicraft system emerged as the dominant factor of production in 18th century England. Again, factually incorrect. In 18th century, what happened was machine industry emerged. And that too, it was not dominant at that time. It only emerged. Today, it is dominant. It is at the apex now, at present. So we don't know whether handicraft was at the apex. This information is alien to the passage. The industrial arts developed as a result of the growth of the mechanical industry. Okay, maybe correct. That followed the decline of handicraft system of production. Where does the author ever talk about the decline of handicraft system? So this is alien to the passage. The machine industry emerged out of handicraft industry does not mean handicraft industry declined, and out of that decline emerged the machine industry. Okay, so this is alien. Question 4. Which of the following best describes the author's attitude or tone towards scientific techniques? Now, please note, author talks about scientific laboratories, the procedure, the measurement, the valuation, and he merely describes the system. He merely describes the scientific techniques. Describes the scientific techniques, and that too objectively, which means he has not given his opinion or judgment on scientific techniques. He has not said whether these scientific techniques are good, bad, or whether they are sufficient, insufficient. He has not given his position on the science, the logic of physics and chemistry, or the scientific techniques. He has merely described how these techniques work. That's all, which means his attitude towards them is broadly neutral, objective. Critical was a tempting choice. Some of you might have thought that he's not very happy with the way things are the way scientific techniques are, because he has mentioned that they disregard spiritual truths of law and custom. Some of you might have thought that this word tells you author is not happy with it, happy with scientific techniques, but that's not the case. Author does not disregard anything. He tells us that scientific techniques disregard spiritual laws and customs, whether they do so rightly or wrongly, whether it is right that they do so or it is wrong that they do so. Author has not taken any position. Therefore, option D, neutral, is the correct answer. Still, maybe a tempting choice, a difficult, maybe a tricky question for some of you. Hope you enjoyed this passage. Passage was easy to understand. Questions, the answer choices might have been a little tricky for some of you. Overall level of the passage, easy to moderate. Keep liking these videos, guys. Keep sharing word about TVM Academy. Keep learning, keep practicing, keep improving. Cheers to learning.